I ran a couple of polls on X yesterday and today. I'll be reporting on those toward the end of the show, but I think you're going to like or be interested in the results on both of them. Very, very interesting indeed. First I have to bring you an astounding or outstanding, I don't care, analysis of the late start to the Generation 3 business. Everybody's been moaning and groaning about Elon and Tesla putting off the start of the Gen 3 project. And why did they do the Cybertruck first? And oh my goodness, it's just, they should have done it a year ago and then we wouldn't have this slowdown. And all kinds of second guessing, a lot of, Monday morning quarterbacking. I guess you'd have to call it Tuesday morning quarterbacking now, wouldn't you? Anyway, in an online exchange with the poster who put this up on X today, he or she, because they are anonymous, said that they dashed this list off in just a few minutes. And I'm wondering how amazing it would have been if they'd given it a lot of thought. So here it is. It's great the way it is. So here we go. This poster, by the way, goes under the name of XIL underscore LLIX. And those are XI lowercase l underscore lowercase l ix if you want to look them up. All right, so here it goes. Can you imagine the absolute financial disaster that would have happened if, one, Tesla rushed on the market with an unprofitable $25,000 BEV when the supply chain was fragile and battery prices were high? I think that's a very astute part. I mean, when Tesla was making decisions about when to expand or how to expand and what to put in Mexico, how fast to build Mexico, that was at a time when there was still supply chain issues and battery prices were still high. Number two, what about doing so with Gen 2 tech without taking the time to revolutionize the manufacturing technology? What if they weren't, ready to really do the 48 volt? What if they weren't ready to do steer by wire? What if they really hadn't figured out all the unboxed approaches? Number three, what if it had ended up causing an Osborne effect on the Model Y and the Model 3 in the process, missing their shot at not having the best-selling car in the world, potentially also making them unprofitable and sabotaging their current success and cost of goods improvements? Let the X and the Model Y, the Model Y and the Model 3 really get their full-on run. Let them get fully out there before bringing in the lower price product. And in fact, were it not for the high interest rates, maybe there would be selling a whole lot more Model 3s and Model Ys, and then maybe the conversation we wouldn't even be having the conversation right now. And then number four, they didn't enter into the truck segment in the process, so we wouldn't be having this Cybertruck halo effect right now. Number five, well, they didn't wait until the 4680 chemistry was set and the battery production was in place with the lithium refinery. Well, there you go again. They didn't know this at the time, but if they had gone ahead and really gotten ahead of their skis, 4680s aren't ready. What would they have done then? Number six, they didn't time it with the launch of the FSD out of beta. Well, once again, FSD, they thought it might be ready sooner, but it hasn't been ready sooner. This way, there's a pretty darn good chance that by the time this thing really starts rolling out middle of next year, FSD will be complete. FSD will be ready for robotaxi, etc., which of course is part of the reason for the Gen 3 platform. Number seven, it didn't start on the work of the bot in the process, something that will reduce the cost of production tremendously in the future, and it works really, really well with the unbox process. So the bots are almost certainly going to be ready by the middle of next summer to be a major part of what's happening inside the factory in Austin and then eventually in Mexico. And of course, the bots would not have been ready to do that at this moment right now if we had production right now. Number eight, following the advice of some fund managers, who would that be? Tesla would have spent half of the capital beforehand on a buyback. Okay, that's a shot. I should have left that one out. All right, we're talking company-breaking cataclysm. How is this not obvious? Anyway, this is Randy Kirk. If you like what we do on this channel. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Thank you so much. We're almost at 21,000 now. It was at 20,000 just a couple of minutes ago. Anyway, thanks. It's great. Thank you for supporting the channel that way. Also hit notify, because of course, tomorrow morning we'll have some more Cern Basher, believe it or not. 4 days in a row with Cern Basher. I hope you're liking his charts and his approach and his very, very solid way of thinking about things. And then later in the day, of course, in the afternoon, we'll have the regular Sunday night show where we talk about all the stuff that's breaking next week. You know what's coming next week, right? Yeah, it's going to be the CPI and the PPI. Other than that, no big deal. Not going to be exciting at all. And then please, Cybertruck model openers are still available right now for $25. And if you buy two, you can get them for $45. That's the freight included and everything. Why aren't you buying them? All right. You ready for this one now? Okay, here it is. Here's the headline story. We didn't bury the lead. We've got the lead right now. So here it comes. Check this shocking post on X. Wait for it now. Martin Viecha is saying this. This is from Martin Viecha's post on X. It's quite staggering that so many gas car owners are worried about charging on long trips, while the overwhelming majority of Tesla owners feel exactly the opposite. Listen to this. This is where education through ads makes sense. Okay, I got to say that one again. Okay, are you ready? Okay, think about it. Okay, this is where education through ads makes sense. This statement is huge and bullish. Does that mean we're on the verge? I hope that means we're on the verge of significant advertising. As a marketing guy my whole life, I believe it could save the year. It could change everything in terms of Model-Ys. The new Model 3s, once they start getting the production up, even the Cybertruck will be enhanced. The sales in the United States will be enhanced. Everything across the board if they get a good ad program going. All right. Now, I have supported the Biden administration for their CHIPS Act. You've heard me on this channel. You know I'm not a big Biden fan, but the CHIPS Act I think the IRA should have been done differently than it was, but it was a good basic idea. The big, what do you want to call it? The big investment they made in terms of bringing factories back here, et cetera. The other one, the infrastructure bill. All three. I've supported those three bills. I've said those were good moves. But I believed it was smart. Why? Because you want to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. That's always going to be a good idea. You also want to do that for strategic products above all. And strategically, we are not in a great place with regard to a lot of the things around batteries, around electrification, around AI, around chips, et cetera. It was a very good idea to try to promote those by building more stuff at home. But we have this. The Biden administration recently promised that it would loosen the purse strings on $39 billion of CHIPS Act grants to encourage semiconductor fabrication in the U.S. But less than a week later, Intel announced that it's putting the brakes on its Columbus promised factory. The Taiwan semiconductor manufacturer TSMC has pushed back production at its second Arizona foundry. The remaining major chip maker, Samsung, just delayed its first Texas fab. For instance, chip makers have to make sure they hire plenty of female construction workers, even though less than 10% of U.S. construction workers are women. They also have to ensure childcare for the female construction workers and engineers who don't even exist yet. They have to remove degree requirements and set diverse hiring state policies, which sounds like a code for quotas. They must create plans to do all of this with close and ongoing coordination with on-the-ground stakeholders. That project is going better for Arizona than the actual CHIPS part of the CHIPS Act because equity is so critical. The makers of humanity's most complex technologies must rely on local labor and apprentices from all the underrepresented group, as TSMC discovered to its dismay. Tired of delays at its first fab, the company flew in 500 employees from Taiwan. This angered local workers since the implication was that they weren't skilled enough. With CHIPS grants at risk, TSMC caved in December, agreeing to rely on those workers and invest more in training them. A month later, it postponed its second Arizona fab. The CHIPS Act, currently identified as a jobs program for favored minorities, means companies are forced to recruit heavily from every population except white and Asian men already trained in the field. It's like fishing in all the places you aren't getting bites. Instead of solving the problem, the people in charge are trying to cover the problem up just long enough to win re-election. Don't be fooled by the Biden administration's upcoming weekend of Bernie's Act. The CHIPS Act is dead. You can't make this stuff up. So let's turn back to good news again. We have got in from the field, from the road, Bradford Ferguson calling in. He says the Tesla FSD version 12 did incredibly well in New York City. New York City is one of the 4 or 5 countries in the world where I don't drive. Madrid, Taipei, Rome. Let's see, I'm forgetting. Yeah, New York City. That's 4. Those are 4 for sure. There may be one more. I just can't remember right now. Okay, so he says pedestrians, left turns, blocking, not blocking intersections, going around double parked cars, not turning right on red because it's not allowed in New York City unless where the sign says it's okay, and then dealing with mopeds and more. He says 2 big videos will be coming next week on that subject. So good for Tesla's FSD version 12 that is doing well in New York. Okay, we got a big debate going on right now about Rivian. By 2026, this is my opinion. This is how I see it. Please let me know in the comments what you think. By 2026, Tesla will have a massive lead. Hyundai Kia with a U.S. plant. Okay, but why am I saying 2026? Because that's when Rivian says their 2 new products will begin to be able to be sold, and that's assuming that it's on time. And then, of course, as you know, the ramp up, they're going to get what? 20, 30, 40,000, maybe 50, 60,000 cars the first year if they're really good. But by that time, Tesla will have a massive lead. Hyundai Kia with a U.S. plant, they're way ahead in terms of what they're going to be doing. 1 or more Chinese companies will have U.S. or Mexico plants by 2026. Rivian will be fighting for some consumer headspace in this middle price category where everybody wants to be. I don't see how their product will be better looking, better specs, better safety, better anything to justify their position against these established brands. You have to have a unique selling proposition in every product category, but especially cars. What will be in it for them? What will they do to make that difference? I don't see it right now. In 2026 with new cars, I don't see it. Well, okay, that's what I'm saying about Rivian. I don't see how they get to 2026, even if they inject more capital, even if somebody buys them out. They're making great cars. I'm not going to deny that. I haven't seen them, I haven't been in them, but everybody says the cars are really, really good. But are they even anywhere close to as good as a Tesla? No. The only people that are buying them are anti-Tesla people because they want to have something different or because they don't like Elon. Who else is buying them? Well, some people are buying because they have a truck that was already on the road and you can buy it now. But the numbers are really small. Why? Why are the numbers so small? It doesn't. I'm sorry, can't figure it out. All right, interesting article in the Atlantic today. And they were saying that this is going to be a tough year for EVs. So you've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, slow EVs are out of fashion." But they finished the article after going through all kinds of data. They finished the article by saying, "Hey, the EV is still inevitable despite the current headwinds," and they point out all the right reasons. So good article from the Atlantic rather. I started this little poll a little while ago, and it's received a lot of votes. In fact, the interesting thing is not only has it received a lot of votes, it's received like 25% of the people that have seen the poll have voted. I've never had that kind of number before. And it turns out that 60% of those on X who answered the poll believe that Optimus will be working in the Tesla factory this year. 60%. A fairly decent number thought it'll be in the factory now. It's already now, right now in the factory. And then the other 40% say next year. Now, a few did. There was only space for four answers to the poll. So unfortunately, I couldn't say, 2026 or 2027. But a few people did take the trouble, not many, just a few, to respond in the comments to say, no, 2026 is when they think it'll be working in the factory. Anyway, I thought, boy, that's a lot of confidence right now that we are all about to make a lot of money. Okay. Anyway, now we have an article from Reuters, It has a very different story on small business need for loans right now. That NFIB survey that I show you every single month, and for the last 2 months has said, both months in a row, it's like 2-3% of small business owners are concerned about getting a loan. They're either don't need a loan, or they're not worried about that their loan is going to be renewed, or they'll get it at decent rates. That survey, and then there was the Fed's survey, also same number, 3%. Well, okay, let me just say what the Reuters article said. Let's look at the other side. It said that about 77% of small business owners are concerned about their ability to access capital, and 28% of loan applicants said they had taken out a loan or a line of credit with payment terms they felt were predatory, according to a survey by Goldman Sachs released in January, which included 1,500 small business borrowers across the country. So how come it's so different? I don't understand why it's so far off compared to the numbers that are coming in from the FBI, the federal, I'm always forgetting what it stands for. Anyway, the Small Business Federation. Their report is coming out, I think, Tuesday. So let's see if there's been any change, because these two reports are on different planets. And well, anyway. Let's go on. All right, I did another poll. I told you I did a couple of polls. Well, the other poll was really interesting. This is really crazy. So the question was, after the State of the Union address, did you change your mind? Okay, just did you change your mind? So the first question was, you were for Biden and you've switched over to Trump. 12.8% of the people say they had been for Biden and they changed their mind and now they're for Trump. Then I asked the opposite question. They had been for Trump and now they're for Biden. Well, 5.1% of the folks said that they went that direction. How about they were undecided previous to the State of the Union address, but now they've decided to go for Trump? 59%. And then the opposite question, they were undecided and now they're going for Biden, 23%. If you combine that, you get 72% trending towards Trump now that's after the State of the Union address, which was really more of a political rally kind of speech. Everybody's talked about that. They've mentioned that. And so if you're putting your best foot forward and you ended up with this result, now look, it's small numbers and it's on X, and who knows what the percentage of people are that are tending to be conservative. We don't know anything about that, but I just thought it was pretty interesting that it was that lopsided. Okay, now, pretty please, you owe it to yourself to check out the video that I did with Larry this morning. Once a month we do the Kathy Wood thing. She does her analysis for the month and she takes a look backward, takes a look forward, lots of charts and graphs talking about where we're headed. And what's happening is, last year, you may remember, I was the only one talking about the fact there would not be a recession in 2023. I mean, everybody said, Kathy and Larry and even Elon, everybody thought there was a recession. I said, no, can't happen, not with the way things are standing. And as you may remember, I wrote a book on recession, so I know something about this. Anyway, right now, Larry's been 100% certain about this year. And so is Kathy. She's definitely saying there's going to be a recession. Well, I started talking on this channel that I was 50-50 on it about 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. And just last week, I said, I'm now 65-35. I think it's going to come in the third quarter. This video will tell you that whole story. Here is the card. And then Cern Basher and I did another video that talks about the future with robots and answers the questions about what's going to happen in terms of the actual jobs. What's going to look like? Will there be fewer jobs, more jobs? What kind of jobs will be taken? How long is it going to take for the transition? A very excellent piece of work from Cern Basher again. And here's that card. Now, don't forget, tomorrow morning, we'll have that other video from Cern. And he'll be talking about some additional aspects of the economy. He's grabbed some very interesting charts and graphs that I hadn't seen before. Several of them I hadn't seen before and had no idea. I think you'll be intrigued by them as well. And that'll be out tomorrow morning. So be sure to hit the notify button. And you can't hit notify if you haven't hit subscribe. And then, of course, I'd love to have you just like this particular episode. Try to always remember to hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Okay, that's what I got for today. And it's been great talking to you.